How to in designing a smart presentation with typography, layout, and media in mind. What is your audience truly seeing? When creating a presentation, it's important that your information isn't getting lost in your slide. So let's talk about a few tips on how to create an effective presentation. First, typography. Your font selection is critical in setting the mood of your presentation and information. It's important that you don't use too many different fonts, which can be confusing to your listener or reader. Keep it simple in selecting no more than 3 fonts per slide. It is also important that your font you choose matches the mood you're trying to set. It must portray the image that you're trying to build for your listener or reader. Here's another great example of a fun or silly font being used in more of a serious setting. Color of font is also important. Some color combinations are hard on your eyes and are difficult to read. These colors, for example, blend the edges of the words with the background, making the borders appear to vibrate. It's also important to keep in mind the line and letter spacing. The reader should be able to look at a slide and their eyes should follow the information on the slide as you intend to present it. So to avoid confusion, make sure you're avoiding large empty spaces and make sure you're creating spaces that aid the reader to understanding the correct message. Some things to consider when putting your slides together is consistency in your design selection. Make sure from one slide to the next there's an easy flow for easier comprehension. The more random and jumpy your slides become, the more distracted your listener becomes as well. You want to eliminate background noise. When there's too much going on, it's hard to concentrate and read the information on the slide. It also takes away from anything you are saying as well, because the listener is trying to figure out what is going on in your slide. Touching on this again, but color selections are very important. There should be a good contrast from your font color to the background color, making sure to select colors that don't force the eye to strain and are easily read from near and far. Line length and information on a slide can be very overwhelming, so the rule of 6 is a good tip to ensure that you're not overloading your slide with too many words. Try to keep your paragraphs no more than 6 lines and a line no more than 6 words. Another then lastly would be to make sure you're including some media within your presentation as well. The human brain is able to process visual information so much faster and easier than written information, but when selecting different media, make sure it's consistent. So here we have an example of 2 different slides. The top slide showing nice and consistent icons within the slide, whereas the bottom is very jumpy from a realistic image to a plain black and white image to an animated image. So to ensure nice flow and consistency within your media selection is important. Also make sure that your media is significant. You want to make sure that you're not just filling up space, but aiding your information with media that is coherent to your content. And keep it simple. We try to sometimes provide too much information and too much media. This example here is including a bunch of different graphs within one large graph. So a good tip to keep in mind when utilizing graphs within a presentation is really to stick to 1 graph per slide. Again, this is too much information for one person to comprehend and understand within a short amount of time. So that is all I have on creating a smart presentation. I hope these helpful tips help you in creating a better and smart presentation in the future. Thank you.